Hey guys, Bright Lights here, and welcome to another Vanguard Deck Profile. Today I have for you all my Luard Ritual Blaster deck. So yep, let's get started. So for the starter we're running Lingering Night Revenger Conrad. He's a really good starter that came out in GBT09. So his ability is that he can go to the soul, and you pitch a normal unit, and then you get to look at the top card of your deck, and decide if you want to put it to the bottom or leave it at the top. Then you get to draw one card. Then if you have a face-up G unit, then you get to give a unit plus 5k. You can help fix dead hands, set up for ritual, put to the side for a bit of early game rush. It's pretty good. So you could play the one from the child deck, Root, but he costs a counterblast and is generation break, so it's not guaranteed that he'll get to the soul before he dies. So I like him better. Next up for grade 3s, we're playing 4 Vanguard Luard, the main boss of the deck. Unfortunately, I can never open with him. I don't know why, but like, he only comes like mid-game for me. So yeah, obviously want to try and max him out. So his ability is Ritual 3. So when you have 3 grade 1s in drop zone, Ritual 3, choose 2 normal units from your drop zone, put them to the bottom of your deck in any order. At the beginning of your ride phase, you may pay the cost. If you do, you can stride without paying the stride cost. So keep in mind, it does say beginning of ride phase. So if you ride him, and you've already achieved ritual, you can't immediately use the skill because it's no longer at the beginning of ride phase. You must be on Luard already for him to use his ritual skill. And the second ability is when your G unit strides, you can pay the cost of Counterblast 1 and choosing one of your rear guards and retiring them. And then you can search your deck for 2 grade 1 or lower units and call them. Really good ability, can help you search for all the grade 1s you need. And the first ability is really good because it helps you cycle units back, so you can play a few lesser grade 1s. So yeah, next up we're playing 4 Blaster Duck Diablo. I'm not going to explain the skill because it's quite an old card already, but he's there to punish players that don't call out rearguard. So you can use Luard's ritual skill, get a free stride, ride him, and then stride for free into Phantom Blaster Diablo, retire your unit, and then just murder them. So yeah. So also he's not a bad backup grade 3. You could play Claret Sword, but I prefer this guy because he gets to retire stuff when you stride Diablo. So yeah. Just the standard 8 grade 3 is not going to play less because you still have to actually stride and you want to consistently ride. So on to grade 2s, we're playing 4 Morfessa. He is extremely expensive right now, and I am fortunate to snag myself an SP version. So yeah, his ability is Generation Break 1, Ritual, I'll just leave that there. Ritual, when he attacks a Vanguard, until the end of battle, he gets plus 5k power, which is really good. So he can hit 21 without a trigger with a booster. And then he gets a new skill. When he hits a Vanguard, you can counterblast 1 and search your deck for a grade 1 unit and call it to rearguard, which is really amazing because it can search any one of your key grade 1 playmakers or an extra retire or whatever. It's really good. And the second ability is Generation Break 1. While he's in drop zone, he can count as a grade 1 unit. So he can count towards your ritual cost, which is absolutely amazing because that means you're not afraid to call these down early game, start swinging, and if they get rid of them, you can just cycle them back after you get your ritual requirements and just, yeah, really good. Next up, we're playing the Huel engine, or the Diablo engine, so we're playing 4 Huel. His ability is Generation Break 1. When your other grade 1 unit is placed on rearguard circle, if you have a Diablo Vanguard, you can choose up to one of your Vanguards and this unit, and they both get plus 2k power. And if you have caught a Haydn, which is this guy here, you get a Soul Charge 1 and Counter Charge. The Soul Charging is what he's here for, because this deck uses quite a bit of Soul, but the Counter Charge is also pretty nice. And extra power doesn't hurt, so he's a really good card. Obviously he doesn't count as a grade 1 and drop, but it's the fact that you get to get free resources from him. Next up, to help us fuel Ritual faster, we are playing 3 Skullwitch Neman. You can use her early game to call her, drop a card, draw 2, and then fuel your Ritual. You just pitch a grade 1, and then, yeah. looks good. Obviously you don't want to ride her because she's the weakest unit in the game, but her utility is absolutely amazing, and 3 is a really good number to play her at because that means you'll probably consistently see her early game, which is when you want to see her. Moving on to grade 1s, the playmakers of the deck. We play 3 Kahiden. So his ability is when he's hit into the drop zone from rearguard circle for the cost of one of your unit's abilities. If you have a Diablo Vanguard, you get to choose your Vanguard and then give it plus 5k power and a new ability. When he hits when your Vanguard hits another Vanguard, you get to set your deck for a grade 1 unit and call it the rearguard circle. Then you can shuffle, and if you have a Hoel, then that unit gets plus 5k power. So he can pump up your Vanguard when you're on Spectral or just Phantom Blast Diablo, and it'll just pump big numbers, give pressuring. The grade 1s for this deck, you can afford to only play like 1 or 2. 3 is just because you really want to see it. Like, you can afford to play 2 copies of them because Luard can just recycle them. So yeah, that's why you only play 3, and no stride fodders because he doesn't have to pay the stride cost. So it lets you have a lot of variety with your grade 1s. So moving on to the next grade 1, we're playing 2 Charon. You can filter your deck, but you're mainly here for his ability that he counts as 2 units. If you have a grade 3 blaster, so your Spectral Blaster Diablo, just sack him, it'll be good. Next up we're playing 2 Abyssal Owl, really good card. So his ability is when he's placed on rearguard circle from hand, make sure it's from hand, you get to look at top 7 card, add a Luard card, and then you can pitch any number of cards that equal grade 3, so you could pitch a dead Neman and a dead Swordbreaker, and then that's 3, so yeah. It might not be as good as Charon, which you can ditch any card. Yeah, you can ditch any card of Charon, but it can help you set up Ritual a little bit faster, but yeah. His next ability is Ritual 3. When he's retired from rearguard circle for the effect or cost of one of your Luard cards, you can get counter charge 1 at Ritual 3, and then you can count him towards your Ritual. So if you have 2 cards in drop zone, 2 grade 1s, and then Carnivore Dragon, eat him. Since he counts, you can counter charge 1 still, so it's really good. I really like the 2 because, like I said, he's recyclable. Next up, we're playing 2 Swordbreakers. You can play 1, but if it hits damage, it's kind of like you're done, so play 2 for consistency's sakes. 1 Dark Art Trumpeter to extend plays when you go into Spectral or Phantom Blast or Diablo. You can just call out a free unit. So yeah. Last up, we're playing 4 Perfect Guards, the Ritual kind. So her ability is obviously the Sentinel Perfect Guard ability, and her second ability is in the drop zone at Ritual 3 at Generation Break 1. If you have 2 in drop zone, you can sack a unit, send 1 to hand, and 1 to the bottom of your deck, which is really good because you get to recycle Perfect Guards, and you get to recycle a lot of things with Luard, but you're not forced to send back Perfect Guards every turn. And keep in mind, this unit doesn't have to be for sacked for the cost of your Blaster or your Diablo Vanguard. This one has to be for your Luard unit, so you can't counter charge off this, but you can get the plus 5k power and skill off this. So just keep that in mind. It's actually a really cool play you can make. So yeah, that's it for grade 1s. On to triggers. Just playing 8 crit. That's all Revenger crits because I have them. 4 of them will turn into the Owl in GBTO 10, but until then, it's not going to happen. 2 Owl because draw triggers are quite nice in this deck, and also it can go to the soul and give pump powers late game or just fuel your soul for when you need it. 2 stand triggers because you can count as 2 units, and also 2 units for your cost, and also you can shuffle back to deck, so he's a recyclable trigger. Next up we play 4 heals because G-Guards and stuff are busted. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. On to the strides. Straight from the trial deck, we got 2 Carnivore Dragons. Really good for your opening stride if you go into Luard first. So his ability is once per turn, you can choose one of your rear guards and retire them. Your opponent must choose 2 of their rearguards and retire them. If they cannot retire 2, you get to pump your entire front row by 4k. So keep in mind, if they have 1 rearguard, they still have to retire that rearguard, and your entire front row still get +4, which is really good. Or, what else is there? If they have resist, they can't choose that rearguard. So if they have 1 unit here, and another unit with resist here, and they can't select this one. So it's like the same ruling as Diablo. They still have to retire the 1, but then you still get the plus. Like, they must force to try and retire 2. It's not like they may choose not to, so Carnival Dragon is really good for field pressure. Next up, we play 2 Spectral Blaster Diablos, because this deck, even though it can use a bit of soul, it can afford to play a second copy, because the counterblasting is actually really good in this deck. Well, the counterblasting management. So I've already explained what its ability is before, so I'll just read it anyway. So once per turn, you can Soul Blast 1, choose a card from face down from your G zone, turn it face up, and choose one of your rearguards and retire it. Typically, you're going to be flipping over your Luards, because it can be any unit, so it's good. And then he gets a new ability when that happens at Generation Break 3, once per turn, Counterblast 2, choose 2 rearguards, retire them. At the end of the battle, they attack the Vanguard, you pay the cost. If you do, stand him, and he loses 2 drive checks. Then if you have a Heart of Diablo in his card name, you can call a grade 1. That's relevant in case you are on Blaster Dark Diablo, but typically you'll be on Luard. But this means when you've stridden this guy over Luard, it means all your combo pieces have been unlocked. Like, Kahiden can now proc, Huel can proc, Trumpeter, Abyssal Owl, Charon, they can all proc because you have the Blaster, you have Diablo, and also you have Luard. So it unlocks all your players by striding into this guy, so it's really good to actually stride into this guy. All your players become live. Next up, as previously mentioned, to punish people who don't call any rearguards, you do run the 2 Phantom Blaster Diablos, because people against this deck don't like calling as many rearguards, but they forget that you run this in every Shadow Paladin deck, so it's there to punish. Next up, we're playing 3 Luards from the GBT09. So his ability is Ritual 3, Soul Blast 1, choose a card face down from your G zone, turn it face up. When he's placed in the Vanguard circle, you pay the cost. If you do, search for up to the number of grade 1 units from your deck equal to the number of face up copies you have of him in your G zone, and then shuffle your deck. For each grade 1 you have in your drop zone, those units that called out get plus 1k power. So late game, the units that you called out are going to be super buffed, and you're always going to have grade 1s in drop zone, because it's going to fuel it up with Luard. And then you can have like them reaching plus 10k even, and make note that his ability is not continuous. So if you have like a set of perfect guards in drop zone, they get the plus 2k. That's for example. Use its skill, they don't lose the 2k, they retain the 2k power. So keep that in mind. My only complaint about this card is that yes, he does cost soul, but you know, it's not that bad. Yeah. So typically you can flip over a copy of him, and then so once face up, stride into him, and depending on game state, you can either flip over your second copy, or you can flip over your Sea Breeze, depending on what's good. So yeah, you only need to play 3, you don't need to play 4. 4's too much, I feel. So the next up, we're playing 1 Doomed, 1 Aura Geyser. I'm not going to explain what these guys do. Actually, I'll explain what Doom does. So once per turn, Counterblast 1, flip over an Aura Geyser, choose 3 of your rearguards and stack them. Reveal the top 2 for every grade 1 or less. For every grade 1 or less rearguard revealed, you get to choose a unit and retire it. Then you put them into your hand. It's just for when you accidentally ride Blaster Dark Diablo first, which you don't want to. You still get your GB2 instantly, which is good. We're not playing Aura Geyser Engine because it costs Soul, and Soul's a bit tight. Next up, for the last stridable card, we play Sea Breeze. In case people play the grade 2 game, you want all your GB stuff live with your ritual stuff. Moving on to G-Guards, we're playing 2 Plot Maker. Oops, that's not Plot Maker. 2 Plot Maker. So his ability is Ritual 3. He has plus 10k shield, which is simple, good, sufficient. You can bump him up to 3, but instead I'm playing 1 Screw. because I think he can help you reach ritual faster, but in most cases you can play a third plot maker instead. So yeah. And I'm also playing one Dismal to protect your Morphester and Halls because they are your playmakers in terms of your grade 2s. And you really don't want to see them gone, so that's this. And also because Die Kaiser is really annoying, so Sku's good. So yeah, that's about it for this deck profile. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll have, by the time this one goes up, there'll be a fight video that hasn't been seen on the channel in like forever. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah, see ya.